another stitch. For those that don't know me, my name is Connie, and today's video I am going to show you how to make this beanie. So first I want to show y'all a couple of pictures of the beanie so y'all can see it better. So that is what the beanie looks like. So for the supplies needed, you will need one buddy. Just joking. Okay, for the supplies, you will need 4 weighted yarn. And the way I worked mine up, I have 3 different colors. Now, it's up to you if you want to do it this way, or you might choose your own color combination. But if you work yours like how I worked mine up with the colors, you'll need 3 different colors of yarn. And the yarn I actually used was a cake yarn. It's Premier Sweet Roll in the colorway Rock Candy. And like I said, I color controlled. The skein has 245 yards of yarn. And this is what I have left over from the skein. So that's what you will need. But any 4 weighted yarn will work on this beanie. Now for the crochet hook, when I worked mine up, I used a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. It has a more slouchy look, but when I did the brim, I did have to work my stitches tighter for it to fit my head. If you want a more fitted hat, then I would use a 5 millimeter crochet hook. You will need scissors, darning needle to weave in y'all favorite end pieces. Don't y'all love that part of making really any project? And to mark the beginning of the round, you will need a stitch marker. So those are the supplies you will need. So let's get started. Okay, I have color controlled my cake since I'm using cake yarn. And I formed it into 3 different balls with the 3 different colors using the magic knot. And if you're not familiar with the magic knot method, I do have a tutorial. I'll put the link for it in the description box down below. But like I said at the beginning of this tutorial, any 3 different color 4-weight yarns will work. So we're going to start off with the top of the hat. I'm going to use the light purple here. And we're going to start off by doing the magic ring method. So you want to leave a tail, and you just want to take your yarn and make a circle. And this is what's attached to your skein of yarn. All right, and I just kind of pinch it. Take what's connected to your skein and just bring it in like this. Let me do that again. All right, you have it like this, and you just take what's connected to the skein, pull it through, and you're making a little side loop like this. Take your crochet hook and stick it in. Like this. Okay, so for round 1, we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. You want to grab your stitch marker to mark the beginning of the round. And we're going to be putting 12 double crochet stitches into the magic ring. All right. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, and just keep double crocheting until you make 12 double crochet stitches, and we'll meet back up there. Okay, you should have your 12 double crochet stitches in the magic ring. So now you want to tighten your magic ring up. Just pull on that end piece. All right. So we're going to slip stitch into that first double crochet stitch. And we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. All right. So for round 2, you're going to do 2 double crochet stitches into every stitch. And you're going to have 24 double crochet stitches when you finish round 2. You go into that first stitch. There's 1. Go in the same stitch, double crochet. There's 2. All right. Second stitch, we do 2 double crochet stitches into. 1, 2. All right, next stitch, we're doing 2 double crochet stitches. 1 and 2. All right, just keep going around into every stitch, work 2 double crochet stitches. And when we meet back up, you should have 24 double crochet stitches. Okay, we have our 24 double crochet stitches. So we're going to slip stitch into that first double crochet stitch. And we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. All right, let's move our stitch marker. For round 3, we're going to work 2 double crochet stitches in that first stitch. So here's 1, and here's 2. All right, the next stitch, we're going to work just 1 double crochet stitch. All right, so that's your repeat. So the next stitch is 2 double crochet stitches. There's the first one, and then here's the second one in that same stitch. Next stitch is just 1 double crochet stitch. Next stitch, we go back to 2 double crochet stitches in the same stitch. That's your first one. Go back in that same stitch, work another double crochet. And then the next stitch is just 1 double crochet. And just do this all the way around. And you will be ending on 1 double crochet stitch in the last stitch. And we'll meet back up there. And at the end of this round, you will have 36 double crochet stitches. Okay, you should have 36 double crochet stitches. So now you want to slip stitch into that first stitch. All right, we chain 3. So for round 4, the repeat is the first stitch, you're going to do 2 double crochet stitches. And then each one of the next 2 stitches will just be 1 double crochet. All right, so this first stitch, we're going to work 2 double crochet stitches. There's 1, same stitch. Here's 2. All right, the next stitch, you're just going to work 1 double crochet stitch into. And then the next stitch is just 1 double crochet stitch. Okay, so now we're going to repeat that. And I see my hair there. All right, so the next stitch is going to be 2 double crochet stitches. 1. And now another double crochet stitch in that same stitch. So that's 2. All right, move on to the next stitch. 1 double crochet stitch. And then the next stitch is 1 double crochet. Hold up. That didn't want to work right. All right, here it is. All right, and you just keep going all the way around. Do 2 double crochet stitches in 1 stitch. The next stitch is 1 double crochet. Then the next stitch is 1 double crochet. And go all the way around, and we'll meet back up when you finish round 4. Okay, you should have 48 double crochet stitches now. All right, so we want to slip stitch to that first stitch. And for round 5, we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. Let's move our stitch marker. So the repeat for round 5 will be that first stitch. You do 2 double crochet stitches, and each one of the next 3 stitches will just be 1 double crochet. We'll do that all the way around. All right, so the first stitch, we're doing 2 double crochet stitches. So that's 1. In the same stitch, do another double crochet. All right, in the next stitch, we just do 1 double crochet stitch. All right, move on to the next stitch and do 1 double crochet. All right, and now we go into the next stitch, do 1 double crochet. And now we repeat what we just did. The next stitch is 2 double crochet stitches into the same stitch. 1. All right, same stitch. Here's our second. All right, go on to the next stitch, 1 double crochet stitch. All right, next stitch is 1 double crochet. And then go on to the next stitch and do 1 double crochet. All right, just keep going around doing this repeat, 3 double crochet stitches into the next stitch. And then each one of the next 3 stitches will all have 1 double crochet. And when you finish this round, you will have a total of 60 double crochet stitches. And we'll meet back up there. Okay, you should have your 60 stitches. So we want to slip stitch into that first double crochet stitch. We're going to chain 3 again. All right, move your stitch marker. All right, we are on round 6 now. And the way round 6 is going to work is the first stitch, you're going to do 2 double crochet stitches. And then the next 4 stitches, each one of those 4 stitches, you do 1 double crochet. And you will end the round with 72 stitches. All right. So let's do 2 double crochet stitches into that first stitch. And we will be working the last stitch together on this round because we will be changing colors. All right, so here's that second double crochet stitch into the first stitch. All right, next stitch is 1 double crochet. All right, the next stitch is just 1 double crochet. All right, and then the next stitch again is 1 double crochet. And then the next stitch is 1 double crochet. All right, and then you repeat what we just did. Next stitch will be 2 double crochet stitches. 1. Now in that same stitch, work another double crochet. So that's your second one. All right, next stitch is just 1 double crochet. And then the next stitch is 1 double crochet. All right, and then the next stitch is 1 double crochet. All right, and then go to that next stitch, and that's also a double crochet. Okay, so just keep going around, 2 double crochet stitches in the next stitch, then 1 double crochet stitch in each of the next 4 stitches after that, and just keep going. And when you get to that last stitch, we will work that stitch together because, like I said, we will be changing colors. And after that stitch is finished, this round will have 72 double crochet stitches. Okay, we're going to start that last double crochet stitch. All right. You have 2 loops left. So for the last step of the double crochet stitch, you want to cut your purple yarn, leave a long enough tail to weave in your end. Now we're going to grab the greenish colored yarn or kind of aqua, and we are going to place your yarn on top. Again, leave a long enough tail to weave in your end, and then finish that double crochet. Now you want to slip stitch into that first stitch. Okay, and I'm going to take my 2 end pieces and tie a little knot on the back just to kind of help hold that in place better. All right, so we are going to chain 1 for round, what round are we on? Round 7. This round, we are going to do half double crochet slip stitches all the way around. And you may never have done this stitch before, but don't worry, I'm going to teach you. You yarn over like you normally would a half double crochet. You go through the stitch, yarn over, go through the base. But you also pull it down through the other 2 loops too. And that's why they call it the half double crochet slip stitch. So again, yarn over, go through that next stitch, yarn over, go through the base, and then take that top loop and pull it through the bottom 2 loops. All right, again, yarn over, go through the stitch, yarn over, go through the base, and then feed that top loop through the bottom 2. All right, yarn over, go through the stitch, yarn over, go through the base, and then pull that top loop through the bottom 2. All right, and that's all we're doing on this round. And we do that in each one of the stitches. And I think I was doing that stitch wrong. It's so easy. You have that tendency to want to do the half double crochet stitch completely. But yeah, just keep doing this. And again, you'll have 72 stitches at the end of the round, and we'll meet back up there. Okay, so we're going to slip stitch into that first stitch. Okay, and for round 8, you're going to chain 1. And let's place our stitch marker. And we're going to be doing half double crochet slip stitch in the back loop only. And if you don't know how to do this, see, here's your stitch right here. You have that front bore and the back bore. This front bore is the front loop. The back bore is the back loop. And that's what we're going to be going through. It's just the back loop. Because like in the next stitch, here's your back loop. Right here is the front loop. All right. So let's get started. And don't worry, I'm going to walk you through this to make sure you know what to do. All right. So you yarn over. You go through that back loop only. Yarn over, go through that part of the stitch. You have your 3 loops. Take that top loop and slip stitch through the other 2 loops. All right, again, yarn over, go through the back loop only of the next stitch, yarn over, pull it through. All right, take that top loop and go through the bottom 2. All right, again, yarn over, go through that back loop. Yarn over, pull it through that back loop. You have your 3 loops. Take that top loop and go through the bottom 2 with it. And that's all there is. And you just, oops, that didn't go well. And you just keep doing this all the way around. And we'll meet back up once you get to the end of the round. Okay, so now we're going to slip stitch into that first stitch. And we're going to chain 1. All right, let's move our stitch marker. All right, we are on round 9. Okay. So we're going to skip that first stitch and work a single crochet stitch into the next stitch. So we're skipping this stitch here and working into this stitch. All right, single crochet stitch. All right, now we're going to go back into that first single crochet stitch right here and work a single crochet stitch. Okay. And right here, that's where we initially worked the first single crochet. So we skip the next stitch and then we work a single crochet stitch into the next stitch. And now we're going to go back into that single crochet stitch that we just skipped, which is right here. And we're going to work a single crochet there. Okay. And again, make sure you don't do anything in this stitch here, because that's where we initially did a single crochet. So don't let that confuse you. You skip the next stitch, you work a single crochet stitch into the following stitch. And then after we work this single crochet stitch, you go back into that stitch that you skipped, which is right there, right here. And you work a single crochet stitch into there. And that's all we're doing all the way around. You skip the next stitch, you work a single crochet stitch into the next. Then you go back into the skipped stitch and you work a single crochet. And you just do this all the way around. And I'm going to work the last 2 stitches for you. That way you know how to end this round. So we'll meet back up right when you have 2 stitches left to this round. Okay, you have your 2 stitches left. So you're going to skip the next stitch and work a single crochet stitch in the following stitch. Go back to your skip stitch and work a single crochet stitch. Now we're going to slip stitch into the first stitch of the round. And we're going to chain 1. Move your stitch marker. All right, for round 10, it's going to be a repeat of what you did for round 7. We're going to half double crochet slip stitch in every stitch. Okay, so we're going to yarn over, go through that first stitch, yarn over, go through the base, your top loop slips down through the other 2 loops. And then just keep doing this. Yarn over, go through the stitch, yarn over, pull through the base, and then feed that top loop through the bottom 2. And just keep doing this all the way around, and we'll meet back up once you get to the end of the round. Okay, now we're going to slip stitch into that first stitch. All right, for round 11, we're going to be doing the same exact thing that we did for round 8. So we chain 1. Let's move our stitch marker. So every stitch around, we're going to do a half double crochet slip stitch in the back loop only. So we yarn over, we go through the back loop, yarn over, pull through that back loop. Now take that top loop and go through the other 2 loops. Again, yarn over, go through the back loop in the next stitch, yarn over, go through that back loop, and then pull through the other 2 loops. Okay, we're going to do that last half double crochet slip stitch in the back loop only. So you yarn over and you go through that back loop. All right, we're going to cut our greenish color yarn. Leave a long enough tail to weave in your end. And I'm going to grab the darker purple yarn now. And I'm going to wrap that around, leave a long enough tail. All right, and I'm going to pull this through all of these loops. Okay. Now, I'm going to slip stitch into that first stitch here. All right. And I'm going to tie together the 2 end pieces here, just to kind of help keep it in place. All right, so for round 12 will be the first row to start the braided puff stitch. And the braided puff stitch is one of my favorite stitches. It is such a gorgeous stitch. So we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. All right, let's move our stitch marker. Okay, so this chain 3 counts as a double crochet stitch for this first puff stitch. So you want to yarn over, and you're going to go into the last stitch from the previous round. Yarn over, pull up a loop. You got 3 loops. You yarn over, go through that stitch, the same one, yarn over and pull up a loop. You now have 5. And you're just going to keep doing this. Okay, yarn over, go through that same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. You have 7 loops. Yarn over, go through that same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, and you have 9 loops. We're doing this one more time. Yarn over, go through that same stitch, yarn over, and pull up a loop. You have 11 loops on your hook. You yarn over and you go through all 11 loops. And you might have to come up because sometimes you can't always get it through all the loops on the first try. All right, and then you chain 1. So we have our puff stitch made. You skip the next stitch. And I want to make sure you know where we're going. Okay. This is where we initially started working. You see the purple attach. You skip the next stitch over. And then we're going to work a double crochet stitch in the following stitch. Don't worry, we're going to get practice. All right. We're double crocheting here. All right. Now we're going to work our puff stitch. So that stitch that we just skipped. All right. See, that's where we just worked. That's the stitch we skipped. And the stitch before, you'll see the purple yarn connected. but we're going in that skip stitch right here. And that's where we're going to work our puff stitch. You yarn over, you go through that skip stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. All right, that's the first repeat. We do this 5 times, and you'll have a total of 11 loops on your hook after the 5th time. All right, so yarn over, go through that same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. That's twice. You should have, let's see, 3, 4, 5. You have 5 loops right now. Yarn over, go into that same stitch, yarn over, and pull up a loop. That's the 3rd time. You have 7 loops now. Yarn over, go through that same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. All right, you now have 9 loops, and that's your 4th time doing it. Now you yarn over, go into the same stitch, yarn over, and pull up a loop. You should now have 11 loops, and that was your 5th time. Yarn over, go through all of your loops. All right, I had to come up. All right, and now you chain 1. Okay, so here's your next stitch right here. We skip that. You go into the following stitch and work a double crochet. Go back to that skip stitch right here. And we're going to work our puff stitch. Yarn over, go into the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. 1. Yarn over, go through that same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. 2. Yarn over, go through the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. 3. Yarn over, go through that same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. That's 4. Yarn over, go through that same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. That's 5. You should have 11 loops. Yarn over and go through all 11. All right, that time I got through them all on one try. All right, chain 1. All right, and again, we skip this next stitch and we work a double crochet stitch into the following stitch. All right, so this is our double crochet. Now we're going to go back to that skip stitch. There you see. Let me make sure you see it. Right here. That's our skip stitch. That's where we work our puff stitch. You yarn over. Go through that stitch. Yarn over, pull up a loop. That's once. Yarn over, go through that same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. That is twice. Yarn over, go through that same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. 3 times. Yarn over, go through that same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. 4 times. Yarn over, go through that same stitch, yarn over, go through the stitch, pull up a loop, sorry. All right, that should be 11. Let me make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, 11. All right, yarn over, go through all 11 loops, and then chain 1. So again, we skip the next stitch, work a double crochet stitch into the following stitch. All right, go back to the skip stitch and work your puff stitch. Yarn over, go through that skip stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, 1. Yarn over, go through that skip stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, 2. Yarn over, go through that same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, that's 3. Yarn over, go through that same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, that's 4. Yarn over, go through that same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, and that's 5. You should have 11 loops. Yarn over, go through all 11 loops, and chain 1. All right, I'll do this one more time with y'all. Okay. So you skip the next stitch, work a double crochet into the next. Go back to the skip stitch and work your puff stitch. Yarn over, go through that stitch. Yarn over, pull up a loop. Yarn over, go through that same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. That's twice. Yarn over, go through that same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. 3 times. Yarn over, go through that same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop 4 times. Yarn over, go through that same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, and that's 5 times. Yarn over and go through all 11 loops and chain 1. So you're just going to keep doing this all the way around. You skip 1 stitch, double crochet into the next stitch. Go back to the skip stitch and work your puff stitch. And we're going to do the last double crochet and puff stitch together, so we'll meet back up there. Okay, we have 2 stitches left. So we want to skip the next stitch and do a double crochet stitch in the following stitch. All right, now we're going to go back to the skip stitch and work our puff stitch. So yarn over, go through the skip stitch, yarn over, and pull up a loop. That's 1. Yarn over, go through that same stitch, yarn over, and pull up a loop. 2. Yarn over, go through the same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. 3. Yarn over, go through the same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. 4. Yarn over, go through that same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, and that's 5. So now we yarn over and go through all 11 loops and chain 1. Now we're going to slip stitch into that very first stitch where your stitch marker is. All right, now we're going to chain 3. And this is round 13 we're on now. All right, now we're going to do something a little different. We're going to turn. Okay, and we're going to be working from the inside of the beanie. All right, so we have our chain 3. And we have a visitor coming. Say hi, buddy. Okay, sorry about Buddy. He's my little helper. All right, so we have the chain 3, which counts as our first double crochet stitch. And I'm going to move the stitch marker to the top of that chain to mark the beginning of the round. So our first puff stitch, we're going to work right here in that chain space. So that's where we're going. Okay, so yarn over, go through that chain space, yarn over and pull up a loop. That's 1, yarn over, go through that space, yarn over, pull up a loop. 2, yarn over, go through that same space, yarn over, pull up a loop. That's 3, yarn over, go through that same space, yarn over, pull up a loop. 4, yarn over, go through that same space, yarn over, pull up a loop. 5. So now we yarn over and go through all 11 loops and chain 1. Okay, so now we're going to skip the next chain space, which is right here. We're going to go into the following chain space to work our double crochet stitch. So we're double crocheting. Okay, now we're going to go back to that chain space that you just skipped right here, and that's where we're working our puff. So yarn over, go through that space, yarn over, pull up a loop. 1, yarn over, go through the space, yarn over, pull up a loop. 2, yarn over, go through the space, yarn over, pull up a loop. I think that was 3. Yeah. Yarn over, go through the loop, yarn over, pull up a loop. 4, yarn over, go through the space, yarn over, pull up a loop. That's 5. All right, yarn over, go through all 11 loops, and then, oops, then we chain 1. All right, so again, we skip the next space. We work a double crochet in the following space. All right, so let's double crochet. Now go back to that skipped space and work our puff. Yarn over, go through the space, yarn over, pull up a loop. 1, yarn over, go through the space, yarn over, pull up a loop. 2, yarn over, go through the space, yarn over, pull up a loop. 3, yarn over, go through the space, yarn over, pull up a loop. 4, yarn over, go through the space, yarn over, and pull up a loop. 5, yarn over, go through all 11 loops and chain 1. Okay, I'm going to show you one more time to make sure you have this. But it really is the same thing you did before, but you're going through the spaces. All right, you skip the next space and work your double crochet into this space here. So double crochet, go back to your skipped space and work our puff. Yarn over, go through the space, yarn over, pull up a loop. 1, yarn over, go through the space, yarn over, pull up a loop. That's 2, yarn over, go through the space, yarn over, pull up a loop. 3, yarn over, go through the space, yarn over, pull up a loop. 4, yarn over, go through the space, yarn over, pull up a loop. 5, yarn over, go through all 11 loops and chain 1. So you just keep doing this all the way around. Skip a space, double crochet in the next space. Go back to the skip space and work your puff stitch, chain one. And you do this all the way around. But we're going to work the last 2 stitches together because we're going to be changing colors on the next round. So we'll meet back up there. Okay, so we're approaching the end of the round, and we're going to do a double crochet in this, not this one here, but the following one. We're doing a double crochet. Now we're going to go back in that space right here and do our puff stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we're going to yarn over and go through all 11 loops and chain 1. All right. So now we're going to start our slip stitch into that stitch with the stitch marker. So insert your hook, but we're going to cut our purple yarn now. Leave a long enough tail to weave in your end, and we're going to grab that greenish, aquish color yarn, and we're going to finish off that slip stitch. And again, leave a long enough tail to weave in your end. And we're going to chain 1. All right, we're going to turn our work. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and grab my darning needle and get these end pieces on the other side. Okay. And I'm going to tie a knot in the inside of the hat, just to help secure it in place. Okay. So for round 14, we are going to single crochet into the first stitch. Then over the next 2 stitches, we're going to single crochet 2 together. All right, so go into that first stitch and single crochet. All right, now over the next 2 stitches, we're doing single crochet 2 together. So we go into that stitch here, yarn over, pull through that stitch. You have 2 loops left. Now you're going to go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through that stitch. You have 3 loops. Yarn over and pull through all 3. All right. Now you're going to do a single crochet into that next stitch. All right. We're going to work single crochet 2 together over the next 2. So go into that first stitch. You got 2 loops left. Go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through the stitch, 3 loops, yarn over, pull through all 3. All right, now we're going to single crochet into the next stitch. All right, you got your next 2 stitches. We're going to do the single crochet 2 together. Go into that first stitch, yarn over, pull up the loop, go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up the loop, 3 loops remaining, yarn over, go through all 3. I'm going to do this one more time to make sure you have it. All right, single crochet the next stitch. And then over the next 2 stitches, you're going to single crochet 2 together. All right, go through the stitch, yarn over, go through the base of the stitch. 2 loops, go into the very next stitch, yarn over, go through the base, 3 loops, yarn over, go through all 3. And just so you know, I am counting that chain as a stitch on this round. All right, so just keep going all the way around, single crochet 1 stitch. Then over the next 2 stitches, you're going to work your single crochet 2 together and do this all the way around, and we will meet back up at the stitch marker. Okay, you are now at the end of the round. You should have 72 stitches. So we're going to go into that first stitch and slip stitch. All right. So for round 15, we're going to chain 1 and place our slip mark, our stitch marker, our slip marker. Oh, gee, stitch marker. All right, so we're going to be doing the knotted half double crochet stitch. All right, so you want to yarn over, and you're going to go through that very first stitch. Yarn over and pull up a loop. You have 3 loops on your hook. Now you're going to yarn over again, go through that next stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop. You have 5 loops. Now you yarn over and go through all 5. Now, one thing I want to point out, you do not chain 1 after. There's no chain, okay? So now at this point, we're going to yarn over and go through that same stitch that you just worked. Yarn over, pull up a loop. You have 3 loops. You yarn over, go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. You have 5 loops. Yarn over, go through all 5. All right, we have 2 stitches now. All right, so again, you yarn over, you go through that same stitch that you just worked, yarn over, pull up a loop. You have 3 loops. Yarn over, go through the next stitch. Yarn over, pull up a loop, 5 loops. Yarn over, go through all 5. All right, we're going to get some more practice. Okay, you yarn over, go through that same stitch that you just worked into. Yarn over, pull up a loop. You yarn over again, you go into that next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, and you have 5 loops. Yarn over, go through all 5 loops. All right, again, you yarn over, go through that same stitch you just worked into, yarn over, pull up a loop. You have 3 loops. Yarn over, go into that next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. 5 loops, yarn over, and go through all 5. All right, let's do this one more time. Yarn over, go through that same stitch you just worked, yarn over, pull up a loop. Yarn over, go through the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. You have 5 loops, yarn over, go through all 5. And you're going to do this all the way around, and we'll meet back up when you get to the stitch marker. Okay, you should have your 72 stitches. So now we are going to slip stitch into that first stitch. And then you chain 1. All right, what we just did for round 15, you will be doing again for round 16. All right, so we yarn over, go into that first stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. You have 3 loops. Yarn over, go into that next stitch over, yarn over, pull up a loop, and you have 5 stitches. Yarn over, go through all 5 loops. All right, and we just keep doing this all the way around. Go into that same stitch that, well, first you have to yarn over first. Now go into that same stitch you just worked into, yarn over, and pull up a loop. You have 3 loops, yarn over, go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, and you have 5 loops. Yarn over, go through all 5. All right, yarn over, go through that same stitch you just worked, yarn over, pull up a loop. 3 loops, yarn over, go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, 5 loops, yarn over, and pull through all 5. So just keep doing that all the way around. We will work the last one together because we will be changing colors. Okay, so we're approaching that last stitch. All right, here is the stitch you just worked into, but we're going to be going into this stitch here afterwards. You see how you have your stitch marker? It's right here under it. It's where you initially started off at when you started this round. All right. So let's yarn over, go through that same stitch that you just worked, yarn over, pull up a loop. You have your 3 loops. Yarn over, and now you're going to go into that stitch down here. Oops. Yarn over and pull up a loop. You have your 5 loops, yarn over, pull through all 5. All right, now we're going to slip stitch into that very first stitch where the stitch marker is. All right, so you insert, and we're going to cut our greenish yarn. And we're going to finish the stitch off with our new color, which will be the light purple. The same yarn that we did the top of your beanie with. Okay, and you just slip it through. And you chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so I'm going to tie a knot with the end pieces here. I like to do that whenever I change colors. Just kind of helps secure it. Okay, so for round 16, we're going to double crochet into every stitch. This is going to start our brim. All right, and put your stitch marker at the top of the chain 3. So double crochet in that first stitch. Okay, and then you double crochet into the next stitch. And you just keep doing a double crochet stitch into every stitch. And when you finish this round, you will have your 72 stitches, and we'll meet back up there. Okay, we have just finished our 72 double crochet stitches. So now we want to slip stitch into that first stitch where that that stitch marker is at. And I don't know why I want to keep calling it a slip marker. All right, there you go. We're slip stitching. All right, so for round 18, we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. Let's move our stitch marker to the top of the chain. Okay, so for this round, we're going to be alternating between front post double crochet stitches and back post double crochet stitches. Basically, these stitches are worked just like a double crochet stitch, but instead of going through the stitch right here like you normally would, you're going to be working around the post. And this is the post. See, right here's another post. Here's another post. That is what we're going to be working around. Don't worry, you have this. You can do it. All right, so we're going to yarn over. This is the front post double crochet we're doing. All right, you take your crochet hook. You go right there to the right side of that post. You go behind it, and then you pop back out on the left side. Now you yarn over, and you pull through that post. Yarn over, go through 2 stitches, yarn over, go through the last 2. All right, don't worry, we're going to get more practice on this. All right, now it's time for the back post double crochet. You yarn over. Now this time we're going to come in through the back, and you see you're right there on the right side of that post. Have your your hook on top, and you're going to go back out on the left side like this. You yarn over and you pull it through the post. Yarn over, go through 2 stitches, yarn over, go through the other 2. And that is your repeat. So we're back to a front post double crochet. You yarn over, you go to the right of the post, you go behind it and come back up to the left side. Yarn over, go through that post, yarn over, go through 2 loops, yarn over, go through the other 2. Okay, so now it's time for the back post double crochet. You yarn over, you go through. See, you're on the right side of that post. You come in from behind. All right, your hook's on top of the post. You go out through the left side. And if you notice, this is what it looks like on the back. You yarn over, you go through the post. Yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through the other 2. All right, now we're back to the front post. You yarn over to the right of the post, go behind it, come back up on the left side, yarn over, pull through the post, yarn over, go through 2 loops, yarn over, go through the other 2. All right, now we're doing the back post double crochet. Yarn over, you come up through the back. You see, you're on the right side of that post. Here's your post right here. All right. Then you go over the post and come back out on the left side. You yarn over, go through the post, yarn over, go through 2 loops, yarn over, go through the other 2. Okay, now we're going to do the front post double crochet. Yarn over, you're to the right of the post, go behind it, come back out the left side, yarn over, pull through the post, yarn over, go through 2 loops, yarn over, go through the other 2. Now it's time for the back post double crochet. Yarn over, come in through the back. You're on the right side of your post. Go back out on the left side like that. Yarn over, go through your post, yarn over, go through 2 loops, yarn over, go through the other 2. All right, we're going to do this one more time to make sure you have it. We're doing a front post double crochet. Yarn over, you're to the right of the post, go behind it, come back out on the left side. Yarn over, pull through that post. Yarn over, go through 2 loops, yarn over, go through the other 2. And now it's back post double crochet time. All right, yarn over, come through the back, and you're going to come in on that right side. Go over the post, come back out through the left. Yarn over, go through that post. Yarn over, go through 2 loops, yarn over, go through the other 2. And just keep doing that all the way around. Front post double crochet, then back post. And we'll meet back up when you get, well, we'll work the last 2 stitches together. We'll meet back up there. Okay, so the next stitch is a front post double crochet. And then next we're going to be doing a back post double crochet. Now, normally you just go through 1 post, but since we have that chain 3, we're going to go through both. Okay, now we're going to slip stitch to the beginning of the round. And we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. All right, for round 19, you're going to do the same thing that you did for round 18. So we start off with a front post double crochet. And you see that's where you're going right here. It looks different since you worked around already. All right, next stitch is a back post. And you see right there, there's your back post. All right, next stitch is a front post. You go. And then the next stitch is a back post. And you just keep doing this all the way around, and we'll meet back up when you get to the end of the round. Okay, I just worked a front post double crochet stitch, and I'm approaching that last stitch. And I want to point out this is the post, but we're also going to be working through that chain space at the same time. So we're going under both of them. Or over, I think it's actually over. All right, so we yarn over. You go in. Yeah, it is over. All right. You go over the post and that chain 3 space and come back out. Yarn over. Pull through. You have your 3 loops. Yarn over. Go through 2. Yarn over. Go through the other 2. All right. So now we're going to slip stitch into that first stitch where the stitch marker is. Okay, around 20 is a repeat of what we just did. We do our chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Let's move our stitch marker. And again, we're just doing front post double crochet and back post double crochet all the way around. So do a front post. And then a back post. Okay, and you just keep doing that all the way around, and we'll meet back up and do that last back post double crochet stitch together. And then for round 21, things are going to change. Okay, I just finished doing the front post double crochet stitch. And now for that last stitch, we're going to do the back post double crochet. And remember, you're not only going through the post, but also the chain 3 at the same time. So yarn over, go through the back, go over the post and that chain 3, come out from the back, yarn over, pull through the post and the chain 3. You have 3 loops left, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2. Okay, so now we are going to slip stitch into that first stitch. And I'm going to put my stitch marker here. All right, and now we're just going to slip stitch in every stitch around. So I'm going to go back in through that first stitch and do another slip stitch. Go into the next stitch, we're going to slip stitch. Next stitch, slip stitch. Next stitch is a slip stitch. And just do this all the way around, and we'll meet back up when you get to the end of the round. Okay, so I have slip stitched all the way around. So now I'm going to slip stitch in that first stitch. Okay, I'm going to cut my yarn, leave a long enough tail to fasten in your end. And we're going to fasten it off, just pull it out and tighten. All right, I am removing my stitch marker, and now we are going to weave in the ends. Okay, we're going to turn our hat inside out. And we're just going to start weaving in the ends. So I am going to thread my darning needle and just go through a few stitches. And then I'm going to go back the opposite direction. and then back in the original direction. Okay, and I'm going to take my scissors and cut that end piece. And you just do that for all the end pieces. And once you have all these pieces weaved in, we'll meet back up. Okay, we now have all the ends weaved in. So we're going to turn our beanie back the correct way. And we are done. You can either leave it as is or you can add a palm to your beanie. So I hope y'all enjoyed today's tutorial, and let me know in the comments what you think of this beanie and if you like the tutorial. And if you do make this hat, please send a picture of your hat to justanothersstitch2020@gmail.com. And I hope y'all are all having a fabulous day. Ooh la la. Bye y'all.